Welcome, folks, to the very first Productivity with Peter mailbag video. Now, I'm excited. I just got this idea today from my friend Francesco D'Alessio over at the Keep Productive YouTube channel. He said, Peter, you do such great videos, and you should really consider doing a mailbag where you ask people to ask you questions, and then you answer those questions on videos. So here we are, and that's what I'm doing today for you guys. And I sent out an email to my email list earlier today, and by the way, if you're not subscribed to that yet, you can go ahead and do that. I'll put the link in the description below the video. And people asked me some questions, and I'm here to answer them. Now, for those of you who don't know me that well yet, my name is Peter Akis. I teach people how to use project-based task managers such as OmniFocus, such as Things 3, to get more stuff done and to be more organized. And I've got some free videos to teach you how to do that here on YouTube, but I also sell online courses, an online course on OmniFocus and an online course on Things 3. And you can find those over at learn.peterakis.net. And again, of course, the link will be in the description of the video. So first things first, last time I had some people complain about the background video. I had a beautiful nudibranch, which is a tiny marine creature that I love seeing when I go scuba diving. I had some people complain that the background was a little bit too colorful in my previous videos, so I chose a new background right here of Yosemite Valley, one of the most beautiful places on Earth, certainly the most beautiful place I've ever seen on this planet, and I mean, you can't really object to this, right? It's beautiful. So let's go and pop over and get to the first question. And by the way, if you have any questions as well that you'd like me to cover, whether that's on OmniFocus or on Things or on using project-based task managers or productivity in general, you're welcome to just leave those questions in the comments for this video, and maybe I'll get to them in the next mailbag if people end up liking this one. So, first question, Bart asks about recurring reminders. And by the way, all three questions are nominally about OmniFocus today, but really the questions apply to any project-based task manager. So if you're using Things 3 or even another task manager, stick around, you may learn something. I'll be showing some stuff in OmniFocus, but it's really applicable across task managers. So, Bart asks, what's the best way to handle recurring reminders in OmniFocus 3 for iOS or iPadOS? Well, Bart, that's a great question. I will show how I handle recurring reminders or recurring tasks in OmniFocus and how I'm reminded of those. And I'll show this on OmniFocus for the Mac, but it's really the same for OmniFocus on iOS or OmniFocus on iPadOS. It's just the interface looks a little different. But the how to actually set these tasks up is the same, so that's what I'll show you right now. So I'll pop over into my OmniFocus over here, and I'll just go over to the inbox. And so what's something that I do regularly that I want to be reminded of at the right time? I always love to use the example of watering the plants, because you got to do this every now and then. If you got some plants in your house, I've got a beautiful plant right here, you don't water it, it doesn't do so well. So let's say I want to water the plants every week, and I want to be reminded that I need to do this. I'll create a task, and I'll call it Water the Plants. And I'll just leave this task in the inbox for now, okay? We're not talking about organizing projects right now. And I'll scroll down over here to the right because I want to repeat this task. And let's say I'd like to do this once every week. Maybe you want to do it every 10 days, doesn't matter. I like to do it every week. And the way I like to schedule the repetition here is I'll say schedule the next defer date. So in OmniFocus, you can either schedule the next defer date or the due date. And I'll defer this task, for example, today is Monday, so I'll defer it until Wednesday. When I type Wednesday, what you'll actually see is now I can repeat from this item's completion or assigned date. So if I choose repeat from this item's assigned dates, what will happen is it will repeat every Wednesday, right? I've deferred it until Wednesday now. It'll be deferred until this week, Wednesday, and then for next week, there'll be another task that will be deferred until next Wednesday, and it'll just keep doing that regardless of whether I've completed this task or not. But I don't want it to work that way, because see, if I don't get to watering the plants until Friday, then I probably want to wait a week from Friday until I do that again. Because otherwise, let's say I don't get to it until Tuesday, the next Tuesday, and then I water again on the Wednesday right afterward, right? Because there's a copy of the task every week, then I'll be watering 2 days in a row, and my plants may get too much water, they may not like that. So I'll repeat from this item's completion, and then after I complete it, it will be deferred another week. Now, why did I defer it? I love to use the next tag, and I'm going to assign that using Control-Command-L. And if you want to know how to use the next tag, you really got to watch my other video on this. I essentially use the next tag to indicate I'd like to do this sometime soon. So what happens now? This task is deferred until Wednesday because I've set that here. It has the next tag, and I've set it to repeat every week, repeat from this item's completion. On Wednesday, this task will show up under the today view in forecast. You can't see it now. This is a different, I'll delete this, that's a different task. It'll show up on Wednesday under the today view. So Wednesday morning when I wake up and I check my OmniFocus, I'll see, oh hey, I should water the plants sometime soon. The next tag kind of means I've given it the meaning sometime soon. So that's how I would do that. And then whenever you get to it, you would mark the task as complete, and a new copy will be generated the week after. And the reminder for me is the fact that it shows up under today because it has that next tag. And again, if you want to know more about how the next tag works, go ahead and watch my video on that. You could also set up notifications if you really want to be reminded. But I find that this is a gentle reminder that you see when you go into your OmniFocus, and certainly for anything that's not super critical on time, a very good solution. So Bart, I hope that helps. Now let's go back and go to question number 2. We'll do 3 questions today. Question number 2 now. Question number 2 is from Ron, and Ron is asking about projects versus tags. He says, I'd like to know how to mix and match projects versus tags, because there's a lot of ways to slice and dice those. Totally true. I find that I usually end up recreating tags for all my projects, but that doesn't really work well and creates overhead. So in short, when is something a project, and when does it make more sense to just tag something? All right, Ron, this is a good question, and it's actually one that I get a lot. It's interesting. I don't actually use that many tags. Really, the tags that I use are the next tag, the waiting for tag to indicate that I'm waiting for someone to do something or for something to happen, the someday maybe tag, which is for things that I'd like to work on someday maybe, and a couple of location-based tags, plus one people-based tag, person-based tag. So I have one tag that I assign to things, to tasks that involve me discussing stuff with my girlfriend. So sometimes I sit down with her. I mean, we talk all the time, but sometimes you have to have a discussion. And so it's handy to be able to pull up, oh yeah, what were all the things that I wanted to talk to you about, without constantly interrupting her. And I've got those location-based tags to get a reminder from OmniFocus, a notification when I show up at that place. So I really only use a few tags, and I understand that you want to set up project tags. It can be really tempting to tag as much as possible, right? So for example, I've got this project right here, which is to sign up for a meditation retreat, something that I want to do soon. So I could go ahead and select the project and just create a meditation tag like this. I could do that. And then if I add a new task, it will automatically inherit that meditation tag. And I also have a daily task, which is to meditate. I'd like to meditate every day, right? And so I can also tag that with meditation. But my question would be, why would I do that? Like, what is the purpose of this? So to me, tags are something that you really, if you're going to use a tag, you have to think about the return on investment, the ROI of your time and your energy of applying all of these tags. Are you ever going to browse by this tag? So the waiting for tag that I like to assign to tasks where I'm waiting for someone else to do something, that's a handy tag. And I will sometimes click on go to the tags perspective and click on the waiting for tag to see what are all the things that I'm still waiting on. Do I need to nudge somebody, right? But for a meditation tag like this, this is a contrived example, but a meditation tag like this, I probably would never really browse by this tag. I would not want to see all of the tasks that I have available that have the meditation tag. Like, what's the use case for that? So you just have to think really carefully, what is the use case? When I'm working on this project, on sign up for a meditation retreat, I'm going to go into the project view and select the project and work through my tasks like this. That's the natural way of working. So ask yourself, is there a point to tagging this? Like, how would it save me time? How would it how would it help me reduce mistakes or something like that? And if there is not a significant benefit like that, then just don't do it. Just don't tag. That's my answer to this question. May not be the most satisfying, Ron, but let me know what you think of this. So the third question today, final question, is from Sean, and Sean asked about what is the reasonable number of next tags or tasks. So he says, how do you keep the number of tasks tagged with next to a reasonable number? And what is a reasonable number to aim for? So if you, again, have not watched my video on the next tag, you might be very confused right now. So go ahead and watch that and then come back here. I'll assume that you know what I'm talking about. Or you can buy my course on OmniFocus, and then you'll learn all about using the next tag as well in much more detail and how to integrate it into your system. So Sean, I sometimes have just a few tasks with the next tag, and sometimes I have quite a bit more. And I cannot give you a numerical answer here, but let me tell you how I think you should approach this. Every day you've got some tasks that are urgent, that are due, right? They maybe have a due date of today, or let's hope not, but maybe they have a due date in the past, right? Tasks that are overdue, it happens. And then there'll be some tasks and projects that are coming up in the next few days that are due in the next few days. So you've got those urgent tasks and projects. But you want to make sure that you always kind of balance and do some urgent stuff, but also some important stuff that's not urgent. You know, we all have those things in our lives that, like, they're important but not urgent, right? Nobody's coming to scream at you if you don't do this by a certain time. But these things are important and you'd like to get to them. And that's what we have the next tag for. And, you know, you can apply the next tag to a lot of small tasks as well, just admin tasks. But there's always going to be that mix. The way I think of it is like this. When I sit down in the morning, I make a plan. What do I think I'll get to today? So there's the tasks that are due today, like I have to do those today. But then, aside from the ones that are due today, I'll assign the next tag to a certain set of tasks that I think I can get to today. And depending on the size of those tasks, it may be more, it may be fewer. Sometimes there's just one. If I'm writing a script for a particularly difficult YouTube video, or difficult, long YouTube video, intense YouTube video, maybe that's the only real thing I do today. And, that's fine. That's rare. Usually there's more tasks than that, right? But sometimes I have a day where I'm like, oh, you know what? Like, I kind of want to take a break from work. Let's just run like 1,000 errands. And then I might have like 18 tasks with the next tag, just a lot of small errands. So that's the way that I suggest that you think about it, is sit down in the morning and think, what can I complete today? And the way that you prevent this list of tasks with the next tag from just ballooning slowly over time is at the end of the day, when you did not get to some tasks and you feel that ballooning process is happening, there's more and more tasks with the next tag, just delete the next tag from all of these tasks and start over tomorrow. When tomorrow is today and in the morning you sit down and you start your workday, just go over to your available perspective over here and take a look at all the tasks and projects that are available and assign the next tag to some subset of those that you think is a reasonable number for you to get to today. And just rinse and repeat. Just do it over and over again. And by doing that, you're also learning what is a realistic amount of tasks and projects for you to plan to work on today. Because you'll see if are you always overly optimistic, right? It's possible. So that's my answer. Don't think about the specific number. Choose a set of tasks that you think you can get to today. Assign the next tag. And if you find yourself with a lot of residual next tags that you were hoping to get to, but you didn't, and that keeps ballooning, just delete them all. Delete not the tasks, but the tags off of those tasks, and then start over. So that's the first mailbag that I did. Thank you very much, Bart, Ron, and Sean, for asking these questions. Again, if you have a question as well that you'd like me to cover in a future video like this, just leave that question in the comments below or write to me at peter@peterakis.net. And again, if you really want to make a big difference in your productivity, in your organization, and you want to do that using either OmniFocus or Things 3, both amazing project-based task managers, just head over to learn.peterakis.net and check out my courses. Thank you very much, and it's evening here in Amsterdam, so I wish you a very good evening.